Hi, I'm Chris Abbott, CEO and founder of Shadow Warrior Coaching, and today it's my pleasure to present you with lesson number 7 of the Thinking into Results program, which is called Trample the Terror Barrier. I happen to love this program because for me and for most of my clients, this is one of those breakthrough lessons that provides so much learning, so much understanding about why we do what we do in terms of the results we produce, and it addresses that feeling why we sometimes feel like we're stuck or we're trapped in a plateau and can't get to those really big goals that we dream about but just can't seem to reach. So I want you to grab your notebooks. I want you to have your best pen in hand. You're definitely going to have lots of aha moments and lots of epiphanies, which is great because that means you're raising your awareness. And I can guarantee you, you're going to leave this lesson with more questions than you came in with, which is a great thing. So let's get started. Let's demystify what the terror barrier is and let the learning begin. Now, I want you guys to think for a moment why it is that so many people get excited about a goal, right? They get all fired up, and in the end, it fizzles. It just never happens. And at the same time, have you ever wondered why there's a small, select group of people that really do hit their big goals, and most never do? Why is that? See, the truth is most people don't hit the goal because they're setting the wrong type of a goal. You've got to go after the C type of goal. So let me explain to you what that is. The C-type goal is where you start off with a fantasy and you've got to go after the big one. Go after what you really, really want, guys. And I'm going to tell you what will happen when you do this. You're going to come face to face with it and bang, just like that, with what I refer to as the terror barrier, you're going to hit right up against it. Okay? And if you bounce off the terror barrier, you're done. Okay? You're sunk. So if you gain an understanding of what's happening, this is where you want to get to, because you can crash right through the terror barrier, and that's where we want to go. Anyone that's ever accomplished anything at all, okay, whatever it is they've chosen to do is come up against this terror barrier and they've crashed right through it. And you've got to understand this. We've got to go back to the stick person concept here. So I want you to take a look here, okay, at the stick person diagram. And here's the full graphic illustration of what happens in the terror barrier. First, we have bondage with reason, terror barrier, and then freedom, okay, on the other side of that brick wall. So let's get to bondage, and what do we mean by that exactly? Now, let's come back to bondage, and what do we mean by that? Well, here's the individual, okay? Their conditioning we're going to refer to as an X type of energy. Their conditioning is X type. So in their subconscious mind, the paradigm is referred to as an X type of energy. Everybody, X is the unknown factor. Therefore, the person isn't physically in an X type of vibration, and their behavior is X type behavior. And of course, they get X type results. Now, what kind of a thought do you think they're going to have when that power flows into their consciousness? Of course, they're going to think and have X type thoughts. It makes sense. And people that earn $50,000 a year are not thinking the same thoughts of a person that earns $150,000 a year. Mostly, they don't even dream about it. They don't go there. They think thoughts of a person that's earning $50,000 a year. You see, X-type conditioning produces X-type thoughts, and they stay in that vibration, and they keep getting the results, the same results, year in and year out, usually right throughout their life. They're living in bondage. They're not free, and they don't even know it. They don't even understand the concept of freedom. You hear them say it, but they don't understand it. When they talk about freedom, they're just making words. There's no understanding of it. So let's take a look at this process that I'm talking about here that you go through in goal achieving. So we go from bondage, we go to reason, okay? Now, here's the same individual, X-type conditioning, X-type vibration, X-type behavior, and X-type results, okay? Now, this individual is going to entertain a Y idea into their mind. And the Y idea comes from somewhere else. Now, as long as the Y idea is just in the conscious mind, okay, you can reason with it and nothing happens. Nothing. It's just there. You've got the Y idea in your conscious mind. Now, that could be, sell the business, or it could be to go after a goal that is way, way out there for you, okay? Now, as long as that Y idea is just in the conscious mind, everything's fine. No problem. You're not going to act on it because you have to turn it over to your subconscious mind, but we haven't done that yet. So here's a person, X-type conditioning, X-type behavior, X-type results, but they are beginning to entertain the idea of doing something greater than they're doing right now. And they aspire to do something beyond where they're at. And what's really happening is that the uniqueness, okay, of that's within them is seeking expression. And that's why they have begun to think beyond where they're at right now. Okay. And this is what we call reason. And you can think anything you want as long as you don't internalize it, nothing happens. It's just a thought. Now let's go to the next level. Here we've gone from bondage to reason, and now we're going to hit the terror barrier. Now think of this for a moment. It's the X-type energy in the subconscious mind that controls the vibration we're in. The vibration we're in is on a conscious level and is referred to as what's known as feelings. Feeling is a word we invented to describe conscious awareness of the vibration we're in. Now, here's a person with a Y idea in the conscious mind, okay, and they start to get emotionally charged and involved with this Y-type idea. And when they do get emotionally involved with the Y-type idea, now they're in an X and Y-type vibration, which is a chaotic vibration. And boom, instantly they worry and they have doubt, and it registers on the subconscious mind. Okay, so there's fear on that subconscious level, and on the physical level, it presents as being anxiety. So you get these anxious feelings, they go to step out and they go ahead, and then all of a sudden, boom, they hit the terror barrier and they bounce right back into bondage. They go back to their old thinking and their old X-type idea. Now, this happens with almost everyone. A person, for example, goes out to buy their first house, the terror barrier hits, they go home, they're scared. They've got the money, they want to buy a house, but they're scared. Or a person goes to quit a job and start a business and they're scared. They're just scared. And that's what they want to do, but they're scared. It's understandable. So if you want to build something, bigger than where you're currently at, sure, fear strikes. What if I lose? You start asking yourself, and you see, when you get involved in that XY vibration on an emotional level, your whole being changes. You're no longer in the X vibration anymore. You're in the XY vibration, and you've hit that wall, okay, which is called the terror barrier. That's what it is, guys. Now, Thoreau said, if a person advances confidently, okay, not haphazardly, confidently in the direction of the dream and endeavors to live the life they've imagined, all right, they will meet with success unexpected in common hours. You see, you just have to endeavor, and you just have to get it in your head to live the life you've imagined. And how did you build that great big fantasy? How did you turn that fantasy into a theory? How did you turn the theory into a goal? You said, I am able to do it. And you said, I am willing to do it. And that's when you started to get emotionally involved. I'm sure you've done that before. So Thoreau said, if you endeavor, give it everything you've got, and you can go right through that terror barrier and understand what is causing the fear. Okay, so you see, it's the understanding of what's causing the fear in the first place that enables you to go through it, because you know it's coming. You're understanding it is really the key. Now, it doesn't eliminate the fear. It doesn't eliminate the chaotic vibration you'll be in. It doesn't at all, but it enables you to go right through it. Now, even when you've stepped through that terror barrier and you're over now in the area of freedom, you've gone through it, you'll still experience the fear, but it's the repetition of getting emotionally involved in the Y idea and emotionally involved in that Y idea. Eventually, the X conditioning disappears. It just goes away. Then when you've changed your paradigm and you've changed your conditioning and you're now living in freedom in a place you never thought you'd be, now you got to start it all over again, because now you've leveled up, right? So when the Y becomes the bondage and you get comfortable there, you're going to have to go on and on from there again. But you're going to be doing it with experience and understanding. And you're going to be doing something that you've never done before, but it eliminates the fear of having done this. And I'll tell you, when I set a new goal, it scares me. There's no question. And there's definitely parts of my mind that say, forget it, Chris. You don't need this. You don't need the money. You don't need the aggravation. Just take it easy. Stay in your comfort zone. So we all have these thoughts. They all come to all of our minds, right? And if what you're doing isn't constituting growth, if it isn't scaring you, you're going in the wrong direction. Okay, you're not growing. So the beautiful truth is, if it excites you and scares you at the same time, it's because on a conscious level, it's what you want. And if it scares you, because on a subconscious level, you've never been there. So you're moving into a foreign vibration, and you're always moving into an area that you've never been before. And that's what causes those feelings. So when you begin working towards a new goal, you're going to be looking outside of yourself for the resources that are required to get you there. And you're not going to find them. They won't be evident because you're not used to thinking this way. They'll only come to you as you need them and move forward. And you have to have the faith and the understanding and the knowledge that everything you need is going to come as you need it. So remember, in an earlier message, I talked about polarity, the good, the bad, the positive, and the negative. Well, there's only one problem in the entire world, and that is ignorance. Okay, everywhere you go, all problems have within them as their foundation ignorance, just simply not knowing. Now, the opposite of ignorance is knowledge, and that's what we want to get to, and understanding that all the knowledge there ever is or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. The answer to our questions, it's already out there. So I want you to look at this graphic now, and here you have the positive and the negative, all right? You have the ignorance and you have the knowledge. Now, I want you to imagine that as your set objective, you've set your goal and you're now looking outside of yourself and you don't see what you need to get you there. What's going to happen? Well, let's keep in mind that there's a power that's flowing into your consciousness and you can think anything you want and you're thinking, I haven't got what I need to get there, Chris. And just like that, doubt and worry come onto the screen of their conscious mind. Understandable. So doubt and worry, they're both, it's a psychic disease, as Bob would say. It's wrong thinking. But as we start to entertain doubt in our mind, as we start to worry about what's going to happen, we internalize those negative concepts and we take them on and they set up the only emotional state they can't set up, which is fear, okay? And fear is a very destructive emotion. So you've got to understand whatever's impressed must be expressed. And you have originated a negative thought or worry in the emotional mind, which causes fear. And it moves you into a physical state that is better known as anxiety. We've all had that feeling. So when the body is just not vibrating in harmony with life, that's how anxiety is suppressed. And people don't express anxiety, they suppress it. And that suppression turns into depression. And the depression turns into dis-ease. And always hyphenate it. Don't just say disease. It's dis-ease. It's a body that's not at ease. And the dis-ease, of course, turns into disintegration. So there's a basic law of life that says create or disintegrate. And if you're not going ahead, you're going backwards. And this is a very basic law of life, to create or disintegrate. Now that's in everything, okay? So how do we get away from this negative flow, from the doubt, the worry, the anxiety, the suppression, and depression? Because what depression is it's anger turned inwards. That's what it really is. And we have to go on the other side of this feeling. And we have to move over to the positive polarity and to get you over there. And you'll see that the understanding comes from knowledge. So what do we want? We want to understand the laws of our being. We want knowledge, and we want to understand that even though we can't see it, it's here and it's coming. If we stay in the right vibration, we will attract it. But there's only one way to develop understanding, and that's through study. And it's the one thing that most people don't want to do. Now, there's many forms of study, but if you want to win, you have got to study. So we want to understand that everything we require is going to be delivered to us at the right time. And we start to build on a positive picture in our mind of the good that we desire. And then we got to get emotionally involved with that positive picture. And you know what it does? It sets up a vibration that's more or less called faith. And faith is the ability to see the invisible, to believe in the incredible, and that will permit us to do what the masses call the impossible. It's the exact polar opposite to fear. You see, the faith that comes through understanding, and I'm not talking about blind faith, is that a little fist bump in the road, boom, the first bump in the road, it's gone. I'm talking about faith based on understanding. And that's the type of faith that moves mountains. So while we're working with understanding, that gives us a positive place to be. And we see the good that we desire before it even gets here. And then you get emotionally involved with that. And that sets up the emotion of faith. Now, the faith expresses itself on a physical level, not as anxiety, but as well-being. You're in a good, positive energy, right? We know that feeling. And that well-being is expressed. Have you ever seen anybody and you say, how you doing? And they look around and they say, I'm really excited. They don't do that, you see, because it's expressed. When a person's in a good vibration, it turns into acceleration and they pick up speed and they attract more good things to them. And you can just see it and you can feel it. And you know why? Because they're at ease, they're calm, they're on a mission. James Allen said, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It's a result of long effort and patient effort in self-control. They're at ease, and that's what causes creation, because they can think and focus. That's really what you're here for. You're here to create. We say we're here to do God's work, right? So some of you say, if God's the creator, then creation would be God's work. And if you and I were given creative faculties, and through the development of those creative faculties, we are by essence doing God's work. We create, we get out, and we make things happen, okay? So it is big, and it's a beautiful thing. So don't mess around with little goals. They'll take you nowhere. You want to set big goals. And remember, ignorance, knowledge, we're all ignorant about certain things. I'm ignorant when it comes to fixing a car, but I plan to stay that way, because there's some things we should never be ignorant about. And that's how our marvelous mind works. That's what I focus on. It's the greatest gift you've got, and you can do anything with it you want, but you've got to develop it. You've got to understand this, and you've got to watch things over and over again for repetition. We've all heard things, again and again, and it's like, oh, now I understand it. It's clicking, right? And you will understand, and you will live in freedom. It's the only way to be. Okay. So if you want to be free, you got to be me, not the me I think you should be, not the me I think my kids think I should be. You've got to be free. You've got to be me, right? I love the saying. So I'd like to thank you today for standing through this lesson. I hope you've picked up a lot of ahas. I would encourage you to listen to it several times through so that the message starts to resonate. There's a lot to digest here, a lot of information. So please reach out with any questions you have. I am here to help you. No great journey is taken alone. And just remember, the best of the best have coaches. So it's what I love. It's my passion. I've invested many hours. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to train with Bob Proctor personally. And I would be more than happy to help you and assist you on your journey. So thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Change your story.